All right, guys, we are long overdue for a Bertha video. It's a Saturday, chill Saturday. I got my wife here to help me. So we are gonna be tackling the water pump. If you guys can see down there, we have a little bit of a seat from the water pump. Now, if you guys remember, I did this water pump when I bought the truck. It had 250,000 miles. It now has 330,000 miles. So we're gonna do the water pump. We're gonna tighten up this hose right here. We're gonna be replacing that clamp. We're gonna be putting an actual clamp on that because the lower rad hose is leaking a little bit. And we're gonna be doing a coolant change. We're gonna be switching to red coolant as long as I bought the right shit. So we're gonna get this petcock opened, start draining some shit out of it, but I wanna get as much coolant out of this engine as physically possible. That looks like straight water. I assure you it's not. There we go. But yeah, looks like there's already orange in there, but I think I've been putting green at one point. So we're gonna try to get everything out of here. And then change all of it. And then we also, when I installed the fuel filter last time, we do have a leak on the bowl. So that's my bad. I don't know what happened, but we're leaking at the top of the bowl. It's my fault, so I went and got a new fuel filter. I'm pretty sure this coolant is orange. I'm hoping it is, but it's heavy duty Super Tech. That's what we're gonna be running. I wanna relocate that off of the bumper. I don't know where I'm gonna put it yet, but it needs to go somewhere. So now, while that's draining, I'm probably gonna get the fuel filter off. You can see oh, I guess it's not hitting the ground yet. But if I let this thing run, it will start dripping. So luckily, just a fuel filter O-ring. All right, so I found some things. That O-ring was definitely fucked, not gonna lie, but also the housing. So when I did my fuel filter, I think it was on the side of the road somewhere. So, going through, doing the cleanest job I can. There's a bunch of gunk and shit down in the bottom. I don't like that. So I'm breaking the vacuum out, got everything cleaned up around it. So I'm just gonna take the vacuum, suction all of the rest of that water and diesel out of the bottom, and then we can throw the new filter in. Like I said, we are using a good quality Baldwin. Baldwin's the ones I like the most out of, if I'm gonna put anything in the factory thing. All right. So we got all of the gunk out of the bottom. I had to take a screwdriver in there and shit. So now what I'm gonna do is I am going to put this back to the normal position. We're gonna slap our fuel filter in there and torque it to spec. So we got everything all cleaned off. Get that little piece of rag out there. I don't like these red rags because they leave a residue. So I just need to get that one little piece out of there. All right, so we got the old one out. Mind you, this thing had about a year and a half on it, but there's the weep hole. You guys can see in there. It was leaking at the top. So if it's sitting in there like this, it was leaking right about here. Started to blow out. So we're gonna get this surface area all cleaned up, and hopefully we can avoid this on any of the future ones, but there's a nut down there as well. I'm gonna snatch that or throw it on the ground, either or. All right, so when this thing goes out in 80,000 miles, just so you guys know, I did clean everything. You guys will see, got nice and clean that surface is. So I'm just gonna hit it with a vacuum real quick. So it was supposed to be orange, and it's pink. I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure this was, I took a picture of what my customer brought me in that 06, and his was orange. So I don't know, I'm just gonna have to keep buying different brands until I find fucking orange, but I've got 10 gallons of these now, so we're gonna send it. It's better than the green shit, I know that. Oh no, maintenance. We're just bleeding it out now. 136. Oh no, I have to maintain things to keep them reliable. Doing all right. Bertha looks fucking sick with no bumper on it though. All right, so Monday I'm gonna be coming back and doing the hitch, but I went and cleaned out the engine bay. Look how nice and pretty. That's because we have no leaks, so I went and took care of most of that stuff. I mean, for what I could, I didn't want to spray the PCM and whatnot, but all nice and clean. So see you guys Monday for a pull the hitch receiver off and then fucking fix this saggingness. So if it didn't have a winch plate, it would be even closer. But 3rd gens and 5th gens actually are very, very similar. It's lining up very well. So I think right there is about where it would sit. Maybe come back a little bit. But if I put that up against there, like it lines up right here. There's just a little bit of a gap in the front, which isn't a big deal. That I could work around. It's getting it physically mounted to the truck. You guys will see from here to here, from here to here. Now, these mounts are for a 5th gen truck. So I'm pretty sure that I gotta see how these go. One of these, it kind of sits in there like that, like type deal. But I don't want to use these. I don't want to use those. I think I can make brackets to go from there to there. It's gonna be pretty time consuming, and that's another reason why I'll show you guys this out in the sunlight. That's another reason why I didn't want to do this. You can see it. Like, that took me some time just to make those brackets, weld it out, clean it up, paint it, throw it back on, take it off, you know what I mean. So, because today's the last day I have to do this. Now I can do little things like, okay, I need a hood, I can replace that tomorrow, not a problem. If the doors come, I can, like, little things like that. But these big projects, today is my last physical day to do this big project. So, that's where she kind of sits. I'm gonna try to find some nuts and bolts to see if I can't line these up. But let's try to show you guys here. If you lined that up, if you guys can see it, I don't know if you can because I'm gonna try to do this with the other hand, but I'm gonna line that up right there. See how perfect that is? It just has this little bit of gap right here, which again is not a big deal. That I can fill in with a plate or something. But if I leave it right there, it goes perfectly to right here. And I don't know, I might have to use those, to be honest, to just at least get something going. I don't know, we'll figure something out. All right, so we're just doing some test fits. I threw 2 bolts in here. It hits the intercooler, but that's nothing I can't, if I needed to, I could just chop off the inside bracket. But I think it's meant to be. Not only could we put a winch in here, which that's the one thing I don't like about this bumper, is if you get rid of the winch thing, you could suck this in so much. But being a 5th gen bumper, if you were to do that, it would start to bring, where it matches perfectly, it would bring it all the way back here. So it just makes sense that it has a winch plate on it. And then I don't even need this hood to mount it anymore. So we got the height correct. We are, looks like it's a smidgen higher, which again, not really a big deal. We'll be able to adjust that. You can see it's a smidgen higher over here than it is over here. So this just needs to come slightly up a little bit, which I should just be able to. That's on the bottom. That's on the top. That's where I can get it. But you guys can see I can use the intercooler to line this up. So now there's like a smidgen of gap, a smidgen of gap. So now we know this thing's centered. And if I just make a bracket, which I have plenty of the shit I could do that with. If I just made a bracket to go from here to here and just made it equal on both sides, that would work out. I think this is coming out way better than I thought it was going to come out, to be honest. I don't even need the hood down anymore, which, look at all that oil under this hood. We're going to be pulling this whole bracket off today, or well, actually tomorrow, and plopping the new one on it, so no more oily mess under here. He wanted 15 bucks for these, which I'm actually not worried about. I'll leave these because I gotta pull the fenders off to replace them, so I'm just gonna reuse the ones that I have already. But man, that's already looking like it. Guys, I'm telling you, this shit just is fucking working out. So I have these plates from when we did the 12 valve swap, and look at that, right before the weld. I'm thinking this is maybe meant to be, I'm telling you. So I think a nice solid weld on both sides and then throw some gussets in there. Holy shit, guys, I'm telling you, this is just working out. Obviously, I want to keep the height and all that stuff even, but like, man, that's just made to be. Look at that. Obviously, it's not perfect right now. I have a little bit different of gaps on both sides, but the point is, it all fits. You know what I mean? This one's definitely lower down. I'm gonna measure. First things first, get like the holes and whatnot, but I could generally use this whole plate and then gusset it up. All right, so here's where she's sitting. I did take a level. I put it somewhere. I'm telling you, I put tools down and they just disappear. There we go. So I took a level. Obviously the floor in here is going to be a little off. So that's where she's sitting right there a little bit. And then when I put it up here, it was sitting about the same. So this thing is level with the truck. Actually, you know what? I could have just fucking went off of this thing. Okay. Okay. So this is level with the intercooler, which is level with this. Great. Now, I took the measurements from the top on both sides. So if I bring this over, it was 2 13/16 on both tops. All right. Exactly where this needs to be. The only thing I haven't done is drilled the holes, but that's where it kind of sucks here. I'm gonna have to do that while it's off, but that is also 2 13/16. The only thing that throws me off here, I even test fit those, and they both sit perfect on here. The only thing that throws me off is that the bottom, the distance between here is off by like 1/8 of an inch. The tiniest the tiniest bit, all right? It's 1/8 an inch off. So what I'm gonna do is, since I know that this bumper is level and perfect and where it needs to be, and the cool part is once these are welded out, these are in the exact same place on both sides, minus like 1/8 an inch on the bottom, but on the top they're perfect, and it's a smidge. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. We can then adjust these bolts. So if I need to adjust this back or forth or whatever, not a big deal. I can do that. And if I don't like the placement of it for some reason, I can cut something off of this plate here. But let's get this hood down. Look at where we're at. This right here is where we're at. That's how far out that bumper's gonna sit, all right? Mind you, this has a winch plate. That's why it's gonna sit out that far. I could probably bring it back a little bit more, but if I do decide to throw a winch in here, I could pull it all the way forward. We're just getting to the point where if I try to go back any bit further, we're getting dangerously close to, if I hit something, there needs to be that little bit of give so I don't smash the intercooler or the AC condenser. The main goal is just protection from deer. That's why I want to do this. I was going to go with a ranch hand, but ultimately we'll see how this turns out on a black truck. And then next video with the black hood, hopefully we find some black fenders as well. And I'm pretty sure we locked in some black doors, but you can see these fenders here. I'm going to do the same thing with the old one, the new ones, and pound them in so they clear the wheels. But let's get to welding. All right, so we got it on there. Those are all welded. Not so much pretty welds, but I did end up stick welding that because that thing takes for fucking ever. I laid one bead and I was like, nah, we're breaking out the stick welder. I don't know how much gas I have left on that. Probably not much. I'm gonna have to go get some bottles here. But that's where we're at. I mean, it'll fit a 3rd gen. It'll fit pretty good. You can see the clearances we have. So Obviously, we're going to throw a gusset in there somehow. Once I get the hole drilled, then we'll figure out, I want to put a gusset on this side and, you know, this and that. Or in the meantime, at least just get it mounted to where it's perfect and then come back to the project later on because, like I said, we are running out of time. And then I'm probably going to repaint. I might strip this thing, repaint it all like a gloss black, the PX8, I think it is. I was told to go with PXR, but I can only get factory parts, and instead of repainting everything, I'm just getting PX8 everything. All right, we're getting here to the end of the day. Holy shit, it just moves so quick. But we got that. I made sure to put a little bit of adjustment. I used the biggest drill bit, so that way there was some give between the bolts, and we can adjust the bumper from here and as well as from there. So I got to get the other hole drilled, and I think all we're going to get done today pretty much is mounting this thing up in there. And then tomorrow we'll come back. That's the easy part. Once the base and the foundation is in, so I guess you guys will see the hood because I'm not just going to leave you guys on a you know, little bit of a bullshit here. But yeah, so I'm going to try to get these last holes drilled out a while, take the measurements from the other one, and at least this top hole here, and then the bottom hole, what I've done is, since it's crooked, you guys can see how this is at an angle right here. So, and then this is flat. What I did was I put it up against, I drilled the top hole, and then the bottom hole I will stick, I put a little bit of paint on the end here, which this, oh, there it is. I put a little bit of paint on the end, stick it through the hole, and that's where the hole needs to be. So, all right, so here's where we're at. I got holes drilled, I got brackets welded. Obviously, we're gonna clean a lot of this stuff up. I might move the bolts to the other side because you can actually get an impact in here. We're gonna close the hood, and I need to take these things off for the welder because for some reason this battery has not been starting the welder. I've had to jump it every single time. They probably just need a new battery. But tomorrow, which you'll see in this video, but this is where I'm at. This is where I'll start making my adjustments. Once I get this guy in there, I'd like to have some sort of like a dowel system so that I can keep this like even, but I also need to find bolts. So keep that in mind. We're also going to be switching the fog light style to these, but it's a bumper. Oh, don't worry. At the end of the video, I will go over what this truck looks like in the daylight. And I think there's still, actually there's not. Okay, so that's the big front. That's where we're at. I only have the 2 factory bolts in there right now. I know it'll be all right for a bumper, but we're gonna make some reinforcements and some gussets down the road once I know that I like it. And there you go, 5th gen brackets, and then I use the 12 valve pieces here. If you guys are doing a 12 valve swap and a 3rd gen, those are the plates. I had 1 set in stock, and this is what I used them for. So they're not hard to make though, and they're pretty cheap. And you can still get your hand under here for the hood. But I think that is as perfect as I can possibly get it. Sorry about the light glare, but Bertha is gonna look like a fucking beast. All right, so like I said, I'll get an outside shot of everything, but this is on, and today is my last day to actually work on this thing for a while. So the one thing I was telling you guys about is there is the gap here, but it fits very well. Both sides might be a little uneven, but I'm only one person. Like, yeah, it's probably pushed back this way a little bit on this side, but again, not a big deal. That's just loosen up some bumper mounts. I only have 2 mounts holding this in, 2 bolts, I think, yeah, because I ran out of bolts, so I will be getting more of them. So what I need to do now is wire up the fogs and start getting this hood replaced. I actually got the hood over here, so we're gonna throw this hood on. It's not a perfect hood, but for $100, it's a black hood. So it's a good foundation. It's a temporary hood because we are gonna be going with a cow hood one day. Could be 6 years down the road. I'm just gonna call it a temporary hood. So let's get these wired up. All right, here's where we're at. We got everything in. The only thing, I still haven't gotten the headlights on order, but we do now have working fog lights all we got to do yet, I know there's going to be some trimming. I got to trim that up. I'm not worried about that. We're not doing that today. I literally just, we're going to throw the hood on, and then we're going to get it outside and wash it. Hood is off. If anybody wants a good hood for 150 bucks, there's like a couple of scratches here and there. I think this is the only bit of rust right here. The rest of it is pretty solid. I made sure to transfer everything over to the other hood, and we are going to be using this wire harness here. I'm going to be getting a bunch of little LEDs. This hood, on the other hand, not perfect. Had to get a bunch of rust off, but not a big deal. So any of those little holes there, we're going to be filling them with LEDs. This is a gasser hood, but not really a big deal. Like I was saying, I think we got a little bubble and a little bubble, but again, it's a black hood for 100 bucks. Anything I can do to make this thing black for as cheap as possible, and once it's all black, then we'll focus on the nice stuff. But in the meantime, all right, I got everything on Bertha's side cleaned up, lined up. Everything is good. Let's put this hood down. Look at that. We have a black hood, black bumper. It's looking like a race truck now. So I'm not gonna paint the cab probably until we get the doors, and these fenders need to go. So these fenders aren't lined up 100%. The hood I got to the best of my ability, but even with all the adjustment, looks like this fender needs to come out a little bit, which is not a big deal. It is what it is. Other than that, we're, you know, pretty much lined up with the body lines up there. We got it straight. So let's get it outside. I don't know if I'm gonna wash it in this video, but all right. Now she's looking good. Got to do something about that gap, but besides that, truck is looking fucking good. I don't know yet if we're gonna do, if I'm gonna put the fender liners in. I'm still waiting to hear back on some things, but there's the bumper brand there. I don't know what it says, but you can make a 5th gen bumper fit a 3rd gen. I'm gonna get my shop cleaned up, probably throw a couple of coats of paint on the other stuff. I still need a tailgate. I still have the one on lockdown, but it's like we've just been trying to get a good time to meet up. He's been busy, I've been busy. So I like it. I like it a lot.